Welcome back, everybody, to Tokusatsu Girlfriend.
Yeah!
I'm joined with the always lovely Lauren.
Aww.
And I'm Squall. How's it going, everyone?
And I'm Squall. Aw, give yourself a bigger intro than that.
Nah, it's fine. Hey, if you haven't heard our podcast before, this is Tokusatsu Girlfriend, where I'm sitting down with my girlfriend Lauren here, and we are showing her some of the best Tokusatsu seasons chosen by you, the listener. And we are currently making our way right now through Kiramager, which I have not seen this one either. So it's kind of a fun little, journey that we're both going on.
Yeah, together.
Yeah. So this episode 15, we are looking at the Kiramager episodes 28, 29, 30, and 31. So if you've seen the show already, you probably already remember most of this. If not, it's kind of fun, like a little to jog your memory.
A refresher course.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people that like to watch with us too, so they, put those under their belt. So if you want to do that, pause this episode, go watch those episodes, and then jump right back into this. We'll wait for you. Don't worry. All right.
How was it?
Yeah, did you enjoy it? Let's talk about it. What happened in episode 28, Lauren?
Episode 28 is a Shigeru episode.
Yes.
And oh my God, it did not disappoint.
No.
It's
also a two-parter.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a two-parter. I feel like we're getting more of those. Is that a Sentai thing? Like as it nears the end or anything like that, that the two-parters become more frequent?
I know the arcs kind of like run together a little bit more, so it feels more like it has a flow. Like that's the thing I like about Kamen Rider. I know I've mentioned it before. The narrative kind of flows a little bit. Like you can't really miss an episode of Kamen Rider once you get towards the end. Sentai, it depends on where you're at, but like usually the last 10 episodes, no. So that's kind of what this feels like, is there's so much happening. But again, I think it can be contributed to like COVID and whatnot.
That makes sense. But anyway, so this episode is a Shigeru episode, and it starts out with him crying. Mabushina said something kind of sad, and he hits back with a really deep, sad line, and a single teardrop falls. And Mabushina's like, "Oh my God, you don't have to get that emotional over me." And he's like, "Oh, what? No, I'm not. I'm acting. Oh, you thought this was real? Oh." And that's kind of like the basis for this episode, is we get to really, really, really see Shigeru's acting skills, because we've got, what was his name? Embark? Is that the stone that's off on the island all by himself?
Sounds right.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Embark. We'll go with that.
Names with Tokusatsu don't stick with me at all.
Either.
Even like the main characters, I forget all the time.
Okay, well that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, or I guess technically the real start of the episode was Juru is back in that white room again with King O, and
Well, that's how it starts.
that's what I said.
Oh, sorry.
He's back in that room, and King O gives him a 3D printed key and says,
Well, he's drawing a phoenix too.
"Oh yeah, he's always drawing that phoenix."
It's foreshadowing.
He really likes it.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Here, use this.
Your shine will find your way to me."
Thank you, because I'm about to paraphrase. I can't remember what he said. Something about shining. And we know all about that.
Hi, Ralphie. Welcome to the show.
Tokusatsu's son.
Yeah.
Wow. Making his rounds.
Well, he did watch the show with us. Oh, don't get
He
caught on
does.
that.
He watches the show with us, but he's a little too shy to come in and talk and contribute. So
He watches movies and shows with us. Like he'll sit like on the end of the bed or on the couch and just. I've never had a cat watch the TV. Like I've had cats look at the TV because something draws their attention, but he actively watches it.
it's so cute to see his little head move and watch the
Little
things.
tennis matching.
Oh, it's so cute. Oh,
But,
we could go on forever about him. Anyway, sorry. He's a little cute distraction.
There's a monster that shows up. There's buildings that are exploding, and they go to investigate it, and they find an invisible monster.
And they're like, what? How are we supposed to fight this if we can't see it? My favorite part of that whole fight is when they're like, quick, dodge, everyone.
And they just stood there.
They just stood there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You like, what? You said dodge, and then they just stand there and take it. They're like, that was really bad. Oh my God. And then that ends up totally fucking up the stones.
They would suck at the electric slide.
Oh, they certainly would.
They
All
don't
those
listen to those-
directions.
yeah. And they're
slide
just
to the left, and they're just standing there, crisscross, just standing there.
Yeah.
Reverse, nothing.
Everybody clap your hands. All right.
Then silence.
Yeah, they're just staring.
So that attack just really fucks up all the gemstones. And I think my favorite part, wait, am I skipping to the next episode?
You might
I think
be.
I am. Never mind. I definitely am.
They kind of bleed together a little bit.
I think.
But in order to get the stones back up to capacity, there is this foretold place that they need to go where they can talk to this one stone that was super depressed after the king passed away. Mm-hmm. And so only through showing true emotion will he respond, will he have a reaction, and he'll agree to help them instead of sitting and crushing on them until they die.
Yeah, that's the punishment he tells them once they get to this island where he's at. He's like, okay, fine, either you fix me or for the rest of eternity you're just going to be crushed under me.
Weird kink, but okay.
Yeah, right? But
so Juru and Shigeru head off to go and take care of that, and they have
he's like, you're coming with me. I love that Saya was like, they need medical attention, I'll do it. And he's like, no, it's not medical attention they need the razzle dazzle, the entertainment. I'll go, I'll do it. And they're like,
okay,
what? He's like, yep, I'm gonna go entertain his ass, and you know what, Juru, you're coming with me.
And they put on a variety show.
And they do. And oh my God, I was dying. It's so good. If there's an episode of Kiramager that you watch to give you just like the most context to Shigeru, it's this episode. He is at his most. He is shining. Mm-hmm. This is him. His Kira mentality is
ends
on
with his
full
song too,
blast.
which is great because it's like a good little clip show.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on that.
Okay.
We will. But so he goes, they do a variety act. They start out with a comedy routine, which is hilarious, but of course, Embark is unmoved. Then they move on to, is the song next? Was the song next?
Slicing of the fruits.
Oh, yeah, they played Fruit Ninja, and he was still unmoved. And then he, Ralphie knocked over some stuff, and it scared him, sorry.
Then they played the song.
And
which was his song, and it got cut off, which it's like, okay, cool. They're going to play this at the end of the episode anyway.
Right. So. But Shigeru is like, oh my God, nothing is working. I'm a failure. This is sucking. And so then a single teardrop falls again, and then he starts crying. And so as he's like crying,
Embark's like, no.
Wait, don't you cry.
It's okay.
Wait. And so then they're both crying. And then Juru's like, wait a minute. Oh my God, he's showing emotion. The emotion is here. And then come to find out, since King O was a crybaby, it reminded Embark of when King O was young and would cry and he'd have to comfort him. And so he's like, I have emotions back because you reminded me of when King O would cry.
Yeah, that's what Mabashina said at the beginning too, yeah. Which I like that little image of King Oradin. He's
oh yeah, the little crybaby.
Little chibi him.
But then Juru is like, hey, that was incredible. You cried. But I remember that line. It's the line you said at the very beginning that for your show that you were practicing. And he's like, oh yeah, you caught that? And he's like, wait, was the whole thing an act? And he's like, hell yeah, it was. This has been an act from the beginning. I'm just that good. But it makes you, it does make you wonder, was he really acting?
Yes. He's that good. He's the base surgeon. Or base attorney.
The base attorney. Or maybe he really was that upset that none of his talents were getting through.
No. That's a disservice to Shigeru. He's definitely doing that on purpose because he played it from the beginning.
But I thought maybe they were trying to make you think that, like, well, was he acting?
This is the first episode that we both noticed it at the same time. He does this like little cutesy like pinky pose to his mouth, and it just looked like Dr. Evil.
It does. We both looked at each other and said, Dr. Evil.
Yeah. Oh man, was it the next episode that we both yelled out something that happened?
I feel like it was. We've been doing that a lot lately.
I don't remember. But anyway, they get this new stone to show up and fight this invisible monster, which meanwhile, our other team have cracked the code that it's all, camouflage base, and they are able to see the monster, which is the Titan that destroyed Crystalia. And
it looks very kaiju-like.
Yeah, how are they going to fight this thing? And then that's when you hear boom.
Oh, that was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Because they say, get ready, guys. Get ready to dodge again. And I'm like, well, we saw how well dodging worked last time. But luckily, Embark shows up, literally says boom. And like,
chomp, chomp, chomp.
starts biting the wings. And if it weren't for Embark, they really, I don't think, would have.
No.
They wouldn't have won that fight.
And it's kind of a hasty end because it's a two-parter. But I mean, like, I'm glad we aren't watching this week to week because that just seems like such a hasty end. You know what I mean?
And I really hope Yodana had the forethought to get that iPad with warranty on it, like, because they messed it up. Takamichi straight up sliced it. So
we're gonna talk about how she whipped all those dudes' butts.
Yeah, like with her little riding crop, she's like, go on, get, and like smacks them on the ass, all the Muddites, and then they take off, which that was a cool scene. I really liked how the like fast paced like switch of the camera, like as they're
through the warehouse.
Yeah, as they're like chasing after the iPad, and it's just switching between Kiramagers and Muddites, and oh my god, those. I realized.
Yeah, you've been saying what they thought you looked like. And you
that
just remembered.
power up for the Kiramagers, it looks like when you play laser tag, like the laser tag vests that you put on, mixed with a little bit of Kiss Army in there. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I will say I did like that, how they were like switching back and forth between the different Kiramagers as they were chasing after the iPad. That was really cool. I thought that was shot really cool.
So then the next episode is our second part of this two-parter, where the new stone, what's his name, Embark, yeah, he tells him that going to this holy land would be a waste because they have to cleanse the stones, which Sayo just shut her little window on.
That's what I was like, am I skipping ahead? Because that's what I was gonna say when like all the gyms are like dying in that big room and they're like, help us.
And she just clicks a button and shuts the shutters on them.
Yeah, she's like, oh, helico. And then just presses a button and the window's shut. I'm just like, oh my God. Imagine being like in an ICU unit and like you're dying.
First world to third world problems.
Well, like, I just mean like grandma's like, help me. Oh. Anyway, and then you press the button in the curtain. Can we shut this? I don't really want to see them. I don't know. It just, I thought it was funny.
But he tells them that, taking the stones there to get healed by the stone that's there would be no use because he went there recently and the stone is dried up. It's dead. It's not shining anymore because King O has died. And they still go anyway. They take all the gang with them. And
because Juru's like, King O's soul is out there somewhere. So that's what they're looking for. They're like, we just got to go out there because his soul is out there somewhere, but we don't know where.
And they get there and it's basically just Tokyo with segregation of the people of stone where they're all together, but they're all together separately.
Yeah, he was like, this is my dream for all the people of Crystalia and Earth.
And it's like all the human kids the human kids are playing with the human kids and the stone kids are playing with the stone kids.
Like, yeah, they're in the same place, but
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I did too.
But they end up finding this area with all these doors, and one door will lead them to where his spirit is. And I remember the thing we called out at the same time. It's so Yodana shows off to Garza that she has this carbonite of King O.
He like comes up from the ground.
And we both went, Han Solo! Because it
looks just like it.
Yeah.
It's Han Solo, but
someone's got to come over and like melt him. Who is that? Someone who loves you.
Oh my God.
But no, that didn't happen. But anyway, so the four, not Juru, because Juru's the only one that gets shit done usually on this team.
Yeah.
The other four go ahead and just willy-nilly open a door. And
did Juru warn them not to?
Yes. He said no, and they're like, whatever.
Let's do it anyway. That seems to be the theme of this team, is Juru being like, let's not do this, and then being like, let's do it.
Yeah. But they go off to parallel universes where evil, sleep-deprived versions of them are waiting to transform and kick their ass. Which,
I really thought that the Shigeru and Sayo ones were the scariest.
those were terrifying. Tommy just looks like he maybe uses edgy humor now as a gamer.
He just looks like a gamer. That's all that.
He just looks like a typical incel. Sayo just looks like she's been running a little bit too long.
It is scary to see the evil one running at you.
Or not Sayo, Senna.
Senna. Yeah,
Sorry.
I knew what
I
you
keep
meant.
doing that.
I knew what you meant.
And then you get Shigeru, who's literally chopping at him with the samurai sword.
As soon as he gets in there.
And he's got that crazy face going on that Shigeru's actor can really pull off. And then Sayo comes walking out like a horror villain, just, oh my God, with the little scissors.
And scalpels and singing at her.
And she throws it away and transforms and starts shooting at her.
I was really hoping we'd get an evil version of their outfits.
I think, yeah, they obviously weren't going to do that. Like, I mean, it's just a throwaway thing.
I was hoping that they would.
They color corrected it to look a little bit
like a little more drab,
desaturated,
Yeah.
kind of darker contrast. It's not the same, but I agree. I was thinking that we might see that too, or like maybe like one of the stripes on it would be a darker color.
Or the gemstone, how they have on them, maybe like.
That's
evil.
asking too much for Sentai, though.
I guess so. I thought it would be cool.
And so Juru's torn between all these doors. None of them have a keyhole on it for his 3D printed key. And then he realizes what King Oradin told him. Hey, my shine will show the way to him. And so he remembers all the time he's ever done anything this show. It's because he's drawn it. So he draws a keyhole and a la Kingdom Hearts style opens up and he makes the door the right one. Which is like,
what if
yeah.
that was the wrong door and he was just like, I'm just going to draw?
It don't matter. The key worked.
Okay.
He made it the right door. That's the thing, is that all of them were looking for the right door. He made it, which I think is pretty good symbolism of what he has a capacity for the red can do.
You're right.
And sure enough, there's King, and he grabs his hand and runs him out of there. Why are you running me, Juru?
Why are you running me, Juru?
And the Han Solo Carbonite crumbles, turns into just dust, and
Which I want to comment about that. Not the crumbling, but that room. When it's, because before she takes Uncle Ring Pop there, it's Crunchula, Uncle Ring Pop, and her in the like broken basement with all the water. And she's just like, come on, Uncle Ring Pop, I've got something to show you. And then she walks like maybe 10 feet to a room that
it's not flooded in this room.
It's not flooded. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
She walks like maybe 10 feet to a room that just has like a smoke machine going in it.
Just fog everywhere.
And she's like, surprise, I've got Han Solo in here. And they're like vibing over it. And then here comes Crunchula like, hey, where'd you guys go? And she's like, you weren't supposed to see this. Like, they just straight up tried to ditch Crunchula, who was maybe like 10 feet away from them.
Crunchula sucks.
I thought that was funny that she's like, come on, I've got to show you something. And then Crunchula, hey, where'd you guys go?
What is this? Just pretend you didn't see it.
I just thought that was funny. I had to comment on that.
Sorry. But yeah, King O, his spirit, which was trapped in this room, gets returned to the giant stone, and he becomes a phoenix, and he's alive, and all this jazz. And my favorite shot is one of my favorite shots from like a really long time is when he heals the stones who are all on the back of Embark. They're all like wiggling and jiggling, and I was just like, this reminds me of like really classic Toku. Like, it just had a very nostalgic vibe to it, like the look of it. And I was just like, oh my, I'm really happy. The music that they used was new too in the background. Like, it was a new arrangement of it. And I was like, oh, this is really nice. And they all fly off to go and defeat the big monster that Takamichi is fighting on his own. We don't really talk about Takamichi anymore.
No,
he just says
there.
Wonder twice an episode.
Everything is Wonder something, and
he's annoying. I'm
it's
just gonna say
getting on my nerves.
But anyway, they fly in, and the King and Juru have created a new combination with Embark and the King's back, and they create a new dude who fights the guys. And I don't know, I really liked it. And they're flying around, and this made me remark on something. So I've gotten out of Toku a little bit since like my high school, college days, because I feel like Toku has gotten too computer heavy, where a lot of the stuff is just reliant upon making the thing on a computer, on a graphic, whatever. And it doesn't really look that good because it obviously doesn't have, the Hollywood budget, doesn't have a lot of the stuff, and it already kind of looks dated when it comes out. But again, it's for kids. It's fine. You can use your imagination. It still gets the point across. But the problem that I've felt is that they're relying too heavy on that CG stuff, that when we actually get the Tokusatsu element stuff of like the giant robot fighting, it doesn't look good because it's not like the Showa days. It's not, like even like the, I don't know, like, Bokenger days, which they still did a lot of like the in-suit stuff and made it look cool and do different stuff because they're too reliant on the computer. That this is like, I think one of the first episodes where they were doing computer stuff, and I wanted them to stick with that instead of going back to like the cumbersome, like suit fighting where they're just like, the camera's really zoomed up and they're just like holding on to one another and they just have it like, canted to one angle. I don't know. This is like the first episode. I was like, the graphics have finally caught up to where it looks great. It's engaging. And if they could pair that with really good shot tokusatsu scenes, which I don't know if that's a budget thing or if they just don't have anybody that like worked on, some of those episodes that like could combine all that together, or it's kind of like you get one or the other. But I was just like, this would be perfect, Oh my gosh. I'm excited to see like if they can marry that.
You were very fired up during this scene.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Say that, like you were just, oh my god, this is so great. Like the whole time.
It looks great.
It was great. I love to see you getting so happy and like worked up over it. That makes me happy.
I know there's an upcoming shot that was all over Twitter where the giant robots are fighting in the background and all of our Kiramagers are fighting in the foreground.
Oh wow!
And it looks really slick.
Oh, I can't wait.
So there's another shot that I saw on Twitter. Like there's a few that I'm still like waiting for, but no one posted the aerial fight, which was great. And so that one took me by surprise. I was very happy.
It was really cool, like all the lasers and stuff.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
But anything else on this 2-parter episode?
No. I do want to say that as far as the character songs go, Sayo's character song at the end was super catchy. I really liked it. But
blues.
But blues, you can fight me, not you, but you listeners can fight me if you want. But this is the shining moment of all of Tokusatsu. It's right up there with Ryunosuke power posing under a waterfall and screaming. This is a pinnacle. This is what all Tokusatsu should aim to do, is that in-theme song with all the shots of Shigeru, and sounds dumb, don't it? It's not. It was remarkable.
It just really shows you like the length that the actor has gone to, because it's shown, like Senna's, it's shown even Sayo's, and like I noticed like most of Sayo's song was just that one episode where she got turned into like a 7-year-old or whatever. So I was like, I guess Blue really does have something crazy every episode.
And I was laughing. Like it was so fun. It was not taking itself seriously. Like
no.
It was like fake, like as a joke, taking itself seriously. And oh my God, it was so funny. That is a shining moment in Tokusatsu.
Instant classic.
Yes.
Well, let's jump into the next and last 2 episodes for this episode right after this.
Woo!
Do you want to jump us back into it?
I don't know how to start it after a break.
Because this is the second half of the episode.
I know, that's why I'm saying I don't know how to start it. I can do the welcome back to Tokusatsu Girl, but I don't know how to start it up after a break.
Oh, okay. Well, let's jump into episode 30 here, The Proud Super Warrior.
Yeah.
This is with Mr. H and his whatever you want to call it.
Well, they make you think that he's going to be Kirame Gold. They even made an outfit for him. They've got him standing in front of like a gold sequin background like they do with the others. And they had me going. They had me in the first half, not going to lie. And
they couldn't do a dark Kiramager team, but they completely pulled out of their ass
for like less
Gold.
than 30 seconds of footage.
I would say less than 10 seconds.
Yeah. So I really believed it though. I was like, oh shit, maybe he is going to be Kirame Gold, because why else would they go to such lengths and all that? But that's not the case. He isn't Kirame Gold. But they are needing King O to help them in this upcoming battle.
Because he's back and he's in the stone, but he lives on that
island thing. I don't know.
Segregation Tokyo.
Yeah,
or whatever the hell.
He's just not there. And you pointed out he didn't even come back to say hi to his daughter or adopted son. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck off to this place now. Mm-hmm. Tell him I said hi. Send my love.
Yeah. So they're all worried that they can't even call him for battle. And
right.
Mr. H, it's his time to shine.
That's literally what he says. It's so funny.
He's got the little anime glasses going on.
They do the shing.
And he spends pretty much the whole episode just with the Go arrow to
in some lab
practice and train. And they're like, oh my God, he's going to become the 7th member.
And Tame was cracking me up as they're like peeking in at him. And he's like, we don't have time for this. It would be so much faster if we just use the arrow on our own instead of waiting for some old man to become a 7th ranger.
Pops.
And then Mabushina and Takamichi show up and they're like, please, no, let him do his thing. He's going to be great. And Tommy's like, no, fuck that. We're going to get that arrow from him and go fight. And Mabushina like headbutts him. She's made of stone, like you pointed out. She could have killed him.
Yeah,
like,
concussion.
Blunt force.
Oh my God.
But Juru's like, nah, let's let him do his thing. And we're going to go out and fight. And sure enough, they're out there fighting. And I feel like I'm skipping over a lot of this episode. But there wasn't a lot to cover, to be honest. Like, they go out to fight, and then...
We have to talk about the villain of the episode of the week, who's the mannequin, which I called...
Yeah, you did, because I was like, what? And even Senna's like, so what are you? I bet it's this marksman. And he's like, nope. Mm-hmm. And then before he could even say what he was, you're like, they're mannequins. They're mannequins. And he's like, there's nothing more beautiful than a mannequin.
When we get to see his like mannequin warehouse, that reminded me of when I worked for this small group around Halloween time a few years back in the Twin Cities. It's called the Haunted Basement. Shout out to the Haunted Basement. And they had a bunch of mannequins.
Yeah. And
a bunch of dildos.
Oh, that is not where I thought you were going with this.
Well, hold on. And it's as you think, it's like one of those like basement crawls, but it's not like a linear one where they push you through everything. It's kind of like you get to walk around and do your own thing.
You just wander around on your own. Oh, that's kind of cool.
But we do have kind of like a little funnel towards the end, like, it gets a little more linear there. And my idea, which I don't know if they did this because I didn't go back the next year, but they had a ton of mannequins, like over 100 mannequins, and like they have just like boxes. They have the most random stuff that gets donated, and they constantly are like,
I believe it.
And so I was like, you should set up all of the mannequins in one room with dildos just to like freak people out, and just have them all lined up. And just have it like wrap around and around and around. And then by the time that they get to the end, one of them's real to jump out at them. And they all love that idea. I don't know if they used it. They used the one like where it's like you're walking down a hallway and it gets smaller and smaller.
Oh, very Alice in Wonderland of them.
Yeah, we figured out how to do something like that. But that was pretty cool. And that's what it reminded me of. We didn't have Yodana in
No, and I should have known that was her,
yeah.
When it showed from behind and then the one started moving. Of course it was her, that crazy bitch.
We didn't even get Senna transforming this episode.
No, we didn't, because he got her right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. I love her little eye looks.
And also she's like, oh my God, I'm turning into a mannequin. I gotta look cute at least. And then she poses. But then, good. All the times that like when
Tommy picks her up and she's like, oh, she's a little heavier than I thought.
And her eyes like shoot over. Oh, that's funny. And then Sayo is like, well, she's not completely mannequin.
In episode 31, did we even see Takamichi transform?
I think he was already transformed.
Yeah, we didn't,
because he was about to get Juru. The guy was.
Yeah, because we didn't see him the whole episode at all.
Right.
I feel like they're skipping out on somebody every episode for whatever reason.
Well, he was already transformed because the guy was about to get Juru, and then he was like wonder something and jumped in and saved Juru.
Yeah,
and he was already transformed. Like there was.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I guess maybe he sensed danger and just didn't want to put on a show. Just wanted to cut to the business and already be transformed. But yeah, he was already ready to go.
But yeah, end of the episode. Mr. H, hot. How did he say his stupid name?
Oh, we should know after the song. It teaches
I know.
you. Hataka Minami.
Hakata Minami.
Which I loved his song.
Yeah, his song. easily the best.
Easily the best.
It trounced the rest.
I love it. But yeah, he shows up and he's like, oh, what? You guys thought I was Kirame Gold? No, I just have this arrow because...
King and I gave him some chocolate and some chips and a bunch of manga. And yeah, he got the king drunk. Even though the king's mouth doesn't even open to talk.
But that's all it takes, apparently. And the king was like, I like you, kid. Whenever you need help, call on me and I'll be there. And so he's like, cool. And that's what he does. He was like, no, I'm not Kirame Gold. I'm friends with the king. That's all.
I do really like, because like getting into Tokusatsu when I first started, it sucked because you couldn't go on the forums, you couldn't go on Facebook or even Twitter eventually and talk about these shows week to week without everybody immediately being like, oh, next week, and just spoiling it, like, because it's like, you know, they have the little next time ons, and it was so frustrating because they have to show you, yes, we're going to get a new ranger this episode, yes, this is going to happen, like, it spoils everything right in that episode if you know what you're looking at. And it's just like, I couldn't go anywhere without people being like, oh my god, next episode, you know, they're going to introduce Shinkenger Gold, and I'm like, couldn't I just watch the episode and then have it kind of like be a surprise? You know, like, obviously there's key points in the episode where it's like, oh, but like it takes away like the actual element that I like about these shows, which is the narrative and the storytelling.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I get that.
And what I really liked about this episode is everybody on Twitter, I remember, was talking about how Mr. H was going to be Kiramager Gold. And I was just like, oh, cool. And like everybody was talking about it. And then a week later, everyone was like, not talking about it. I'm like, oh, that must not have happened. And it's good because when we watched the next time on, it did show him in the gold outfit. And I was like, oh my God, this trolled everybody. This is fucking brilliant.
It was pretty good. And I love how he was even like, what? No.
Oh, it's so good. I reveled in that. That was so fun.
I liked it a lot. It was a good episode. I like seeing Mr. H shine a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And like we both mentioned, his song was
stellar.
It's the best. It's so good.
Pen, pineapple, apple, pen. You got to know he's going to bring the heat a little bit. So let's move on to, I think, the standout episode, not only in this season, but potentially in Sentai in general. And that's episode 31, Toys.
Oh, yeah. That's such a good... I don't know. Maybe I'm like just jaded or something, but I really thought the kid was going to end up being like evil,
shitty,
like Sid from Toy Story, like because they're like
strap a rocket to the back of Drill Dyson.
Because Helico was like, oh, he's so sweet, and then I was like, that was in front of his mom. What if once he gets them back to the house, he's like this little shit? I don't know. I guess that just goes to show how evil I think humanity really is when no one's looking. But
I do like how you pointed out Sid. Like, this is very Toy Story-esque. It's very Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I feel like this series has done like a lot of homages to really other popular movies from like the 80s
and 90s
and 90s,
like early 90s, yeah.
And like, you know, we've had like Groundhog's Day, we've had Speed, we have now Honey, I Shrunk Juru.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kiramagers.
You know, like it's I was just like, okay, every season has to have their really obvious, hey, remember the toys? Have you bought the toys? Look, here's a person playing with the toys.
This is a great way to do it.
This is the best way. This is the smartest way that I've ever seen Sentai do. And, you know, I haven't watched, you know, every episode, of course, but oh my God, it didn't
feel like a toy commercial.
It was so genuine. It was so like heartfelt. Like I kind of like felt emotional like most of the episode, like because you feel for the kid immediately and you're just like, this kid is so much fun. And like just the idea of him playing with each of them and like all of them having to like just pretend it's happening. Like you got Jetter flying into the couch and Helico's just in the trash.
It made me just kind of take a step back and realize these are still kids. Mm-hmm. These are kids and this is what kids do. And it was really sweet. And I guess we should maybe explain what the hell happened in this episode.
I mean, they get hit by the Marks Beast, and Juru's the only one that's in the Kiramagers that gets
and Takemichi,
hit, and
right?
Takemichi and his drill dies and whatever, and they get shrunk down to the size of toys, and this kid finds these toys and takes them home and loves them. and plays with them.
And he's so sweet. He is.
He left the chicken out though.
He did, which is also very childlike. I was and that's just me. You know me. I'm like, everything has to be put in its place. I'm a neat freak, all that, and all I could focus on in that scene was like
the chicken.
Okay, he dumped the chicken out, and then like it cut, and I still see the chicken on the coffee table. I'm like, ooh, how long has it been? He still hasn't put that chicken away. That's gonna cause salmonella and all sorts of other things.
But it's a fun episode because it's like his mom's going to work a lot and he's home alone by himself a majority of the day. And she, asks him to get some chicken. He finds the toys and he, plays with them. And it's so great. Like I theorized something, which I was wrong and I'm okay with being wrong on it, but it still would have been a great idea too. When he's playing with the toys, he's playing with them all individually, and then he starts to realize that the red can transform and it turns into a pair of legs, and he starts putting them all together, and they even remark on how easy it is for their transformation into that, and he puts them both together, and I was theorizing he was going to keep playing and putting them in different ways, that he was going to combine the two of them,
right?
Because all of our other stones are in the
they're getting like team training,
team training from King. Yeah, and so it's just the 5 and Drill Dyson, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna have to put them all together eventually. They're gonna have to have the clusterfuck because that's just Sentai,
in
tradition.
General.
And I was like, this kid's gonna just dick around and put them both together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. It
would have been cool. I do like that idea quite a bit.
Yeah, but I'm still very happy because we get a little bit more of an emotional leverage with them. Juru, I should say, mostly moving and coming to life and like talking to him and like telling him like, you got to tell your mom, like, yeah. And oh my god, I loved all the scenes with them like running, like
yes, it's the little like. Normally, I'm not a fan of like CGI or whatever, but this was okay. I liked it. It looked really cute.
Like with the little robot running.
Although Juru running.
The Juru running on the table looked goofy as hell.
I was like, what? He's so little. He wouldn't be able to cover that much ground in that little time.
But yeah, they get the rest of the Kiramagers and they're, trying to protect the city, and they need the Go arrow, which Juru has, which is still tiny. And so Mr. H, he sets up a bunch of ring lights. And he's able to make the arrow. He
sets a bunch of ring lights up.
They're just ring lights.
But one thing that I did want to mention was when the mom comes home. Because, like, Yodana's looking the entire time for them also. Yeah. And she's got this, like, tracker on. And she's like, they're close.
Well, it's just her morph
thing. But it tracks also, apparently.
It does everything it needs to.
And you think, because the door starts rattling. And we're like, is it Yodana? No, of course not.
No, I said, no, it's the mom.
I know that. You were like, no, it's the mom. And sure enough, it is. And she comes in and she's like, what are these toys? Give me this. Where did you get this? And
yeah.
He's like, no. And he runs out the door with them.
Holding on to both of them, jumping down the stairs.
And she's like, come back.
And that reminded us, because a couple nights ago, I was trying to get past Lauren between her and the wall where we have the whiteboard. And I hit the little thing and all of our markers fell to the ground. And I should have picked them up right then and there. But I didn't, and I went into the other room, and I just hear our cat, Ralphie, playing really loudly with something. He loves toys. And I come out, and there's a marker that he's playing with. And I'm like, what? Ralphie, no.
I was trying to get him to stop, but I couldn't. Because I was on a voice chat, or a FaceTime, video call with my girlfriends. And I couldn't just say, hold on just a second. Like I was trying to frantically reach for him, but he would just pick up a little marker in his mouth and
he would run
off.
Just like the kid with the toys.
I was like, Ralphie, stop, come back. That's not a toy. And it was it was Ralphie.
There are 6 missing total. We are still missing 2.
I don't know what he did with them.
He lost them. He's bad.
He's got to have a little hideout where he puts some of his toys.
I don't know, but he was so stealthy and he ran out with those, but it just reminded me of that kid with the toys running away from mom.
I was like, Ralphie, come back. No.
But so they are able to call the king and get everybody in and stop the beast of the week.
Yeah.
And I honestly, this is my favorite shot.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I believe all of Sentai, where Kiramager grows to its full size again, and it's sunset. It's in front of the setting sun, and Drill Dyson is there, and then the camera kind of pulls out and it goes down a little bit, and we see like, you know, the son and the mom talking to one another, and they're watching over because they come to life in front of her too, and she's just like, oh, you know, it's such a sweet moment. And I think the thing I really want to see more out of with Sentai, and we hardly get it, is obviously we have episodes where your main characters meet a character of the week or meet someone that's not gonna really play into the, you know, they're just in this one episode and they'll do something that changes sometimes both of them, but usually it's our main character, it's our Sentai hero that gets the most change, the most notable change that we see out of it. You know, maybe the other person like changes their life a little bit or they do something different. Like I'm thinking of like Shigeru with the one girl that was obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And then now she's in love with Sayo. You know, like
yeah.
That's like a real minor change. It doesn't really actually affect her life a whole lot. Like
right.
How I kind of theorized, like she should have realized that she could do all this stuff and chase her shining dream.
Yeah, she doesn't need to just be in love with someone else to achieve her to be her or whatever. I don't know. I get what you're saying.
Even though it's just like a one-off character episode, I feel like Sentai and Rider don't give them all the goodness that they need to, and they focus too much on our heroes, which makes sense because they're our main characters. We want to see them grow. We want to see them develop. But this episode is exactly what I've wanted, where it has this random family, this mom and this son, you know, and they're able to have this problem and it doesn't impact the Kiramagers, but they still take the time to help him.
Yeah, this is not like a world-saving issue.
It's so nothing and minor in the scope of things.
It is.
But,
I mean,
I
but
love
to this
it.
kid, it is the world.
Exactly. And it's, I don't know, it's the interpretation of the size of the issue. Get it? Yeah, see what I got there?
That's good. I just like how it was almost like, that scene was almost like levels. Like first you got the gorgeous sun, like the gorgeous sunset. That alone was like, oh, that's pretty. Then it like
the skyscraper tall robots.
And then the robots. And you're like, oh, I love this with the sunset. And then the next layer being, you know, the robots.
Mm-hmm. And then
it like
pounds
pans down to the mom and son, and we've still got sunset, robots, but now we've got this gorgeous scene between this mom and the kid, and it's just this beautiful backdrop, and it's so beautiful, like in every sense of the word. It's beautiful, and I loved it. It's
a classic harkening. They do a lot of like those sunset views, like a lot of like the older shows like Showa and whatnot. They would actually make a backdrop that has a hole cut in the middle with fabric stretched across it and shine a light, and the light only comes through the cut hole, and through the fabric it can give off the illusion that it's the sunset. I researched the hell out of this because I was going to make a short a while back with doing something like that and having characters fight in front of the sunset without having to actually wait for a sunset. How would I do that, you know? So that was one of the things, and that's just what it reminds me of. Oh, it's such a good episode.
Like, it was a cute episode. It was beautifully shot in multiple areas. It was beautifully shot. The theme of it was really cute. I liked it. I really thought that this was a home run of an episode.
Yeah, it's definitely the standout, I think, in this season. Just like I love the Kiramagers, and this doesn't give a whole lot of them. But I think that's the point too, is that you really have to show how these heroes are not only just saving people, but how they're fixing people that they encounter that have issues. Because that's the main thing. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get squashed by a building falling over.
Of course.
By a monster. But if I had a problem in my life and these heroes, you know, were present and they saw that, I would want them to help me fix it, even if I'm like standoffish and try to push them away for the first 10 minutes of the episode. You know, eventually I'm going to give in and they're going to help me because, you know, they're the hero. Like, I want something for myself and other people that have problems like that.
I agree.
So I think that it's a great episode.
It really is. I would agree. And this is definitely a standout episode for the entire series.
I know one of our Patreons said that, I think it was Soundboard, said that Yodana does the tongue thing because we mentioned that last episode because there's a glyph on her tongue. And we were watching these 4 episodes.
Glyph.
There's nothing on the tongue. And I don't know if that's like a future spoiler. I hope not.
Which if it is, guys, don't give us spoilers.
Please.
So if that is a spoiler, don't give us spoilers, please.
Yeah.
But that being said, we did not see
anything on the tongue.
anything on her tongue. And trust, we were looking.
There was one shot where it was like right in the camera. Like it was like 10% of the frame was the tongue and there was nothing on it. I'm like,
yeah, I know. I'm like,
is it on the underside?
Yeah, maybe she's got to lift the tongue up.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a lip tat and she has to.
No regrets.
No regrets.
All right. Well, do you have anything else on these 4 episodes?
No, I don't. Who was the last song? Oh God, I feel bad.
It was Takamichi.
Takamichi. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I liked how the song sounded.
It was fine.
Yeah, I like it, but it showed us how many times he actually does that split between 2 objects.
Just twice.
It was 3 times. There were 3 times.
When?
There was the tree.
The tree when they got the go arrow.
There was between 2 buildings, and there was like between
2 buildings.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, there were 3. And if we go back and watch, I will point it out because it was 3 back to back. But there was like between.
I know like the
machinery,
bulldozer ones.
And there was a 3rd one. There was, and I was like,
Was it where he's
guess
like using the drill?
It might have been,
Because that's the same one as the machinery one.
Oh well, I'm pretty sure there were 3 different.
Okay,
ones.
we'll double check. Who do you think is? No, I'm just joking. But like, oh my gosh, we have I counted it like 14 episodes left of Kiramager.
Wow.
So that's 3-4 episodes of this show season.
Oh my god.
Until we're done, we might hopefully, if there's any movies available by then, we'll do a movie. But man, this has been good and it's going by pretty quick.
It is going by pretty quick.
So.
And then we'll have to
do probably take a week off and do like another live stream, which I hope you guys will join us for that.
Oh, I really hope so too. This has been a lot of fun. I've been really excited to return back to Tokusatsu Girlfriend. So this has been really fun.
Yeah.
No regrets.
No regrets. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys all on the next episode, episode 16, where we're going to be covering episodes 32, 33, 34, and 35.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even remember what the preview for the next episode looked like because we watched
I don't
the
think
ones.
we watched. Did we watch it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we did. Here, I'm going to click on. Oh, yeah, we did. It's Sayo. She's going on a date.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was already.
Looks like she's going on a date with Garza.
Uncle Ring Pop.
How many licks does it take to get? Have I made this joke already?
You did, yes.
God,
of course you did.
This sucks. All right.
No, it licks.
Well, you can do both. Remember baby bottle pops?
Yes, I loved those. Do they still have those?
Probably. If for any of our younger viewers and listeners, a baby bottle pop is like a ring pop that was like a baby bottle. Like
what was the
little?
You lick the pop, dip
lick
it, and
it.
shake it, then lick it again.
Lick the
baby
pop,
bottle
dip it,
pop,
and shake it.
baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. New from whatever.
You can lick it, dip it, and shake it with new Candy Crush.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
The 90s. What
Hell
a time
yeah.
to be alive.
90s kids. High five. All right. Cool. Well, we will see you guys all on the next episode. If you guys listen to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you guys so much. You're helping us grow by listening to it on the podcast. If you're watching it on YouTube, it does come out a couple days later just to give the podcast a little bit more time to run because that's what we're trying to grow. But thank you guys for listening on either platform.
Yes, thank you.
We will see you all or talk to you all on the next episode.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.